Welcome to the Your Company Health Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Wright, and we're excited for you to listen to us today. Today, we have a special guest, Dr. Pat Boulogne. Doctor, how are you?
I'm doing great. I am on fire and I'm ready to go.
Fantastic, fantastic. To get things started, I want you to tell us who you are, who you work with, and what you do for clients.
I am a doctor of functional medicine and life strategies. I'm also the CEO and founder of Health Team Network, a company that is dedicated to skyrocketing your mindset and your health in all aspects of your life, especially wellness.
Tell us more about, how you do this for clients.
Well, one thing is that I help clients do a lot of things. So I help clients, tie in with their soul, so that their souls are connected to their spouses. Because when people are happy and they're healthy, they're more productive and they can get more done. I help clients identify their weakest link in their health, and then we fortify that weakest link with alternative and natural, like superior wellness initiatives, so that they can get unstuck in that area. And I help clients also, who suffer from or starting to have like the preliminary signs and symptoms of or weight gain or feeling tired perpetually all the time. I help them get unstuck and like reorganize their life in that aspect. So I make sense of challenges that get them unstuck so they can keep moving forward and with safer, simpler, quicker solutions.
So, as you know, my focus is in the healthcare space. I speak with a lot of and do business with a lot of doctors. One of the big things with doctors and business owners now is burnout. Burnout is a big thing, right? So, if you could just tell us some key strategies, or maybe two key strategies that you use to help doctors and other business owners with burnout.
Well, first off, you have to identify key stressors, or what it is, or why they don't feel appreciated. Because if you know why you don't feel appreciated, you can address that lack of appreciation with whoever the body of people or person is that you're feeling that block with. And because a lot of times when people get burnout, it's just an expression of an old hurt or a trauma that has happened that keeps on repeating again and again and again. And it keeps on getting buried in the same location in our bodies. And a lot of times, a lot of those places are where we have our weakest link in our health. So identifying that is really key. And the other part about burnout is that the people don't eat well. And having the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and financial aspect of it all together, you have to be able to go, like, you have to take a look at that puzzle and see, what is it? Where do I lack? Where do I got it handled and where do I don't? And then you have to what can I do? What's a solution for that? So that I can be more productive, I can be energized, and I can like my job. Because a lot of people don't like their jobs, they don't like their spouses, and they don't like their life. And instead of doing something about it, they just go along with the program as opposed to taking responsibility for how they're really feeling.
So if I'm hearing it correctly, you're saying that a big part of it is not being in balance with our mindset and our overall health. So if you could point to two quick tangible things that we can all do now to ensure that we stay in balance, what would those be?
I would tell you to hydrate. It's very simple.
A lot of water, all right?
Make sure you get enough hydration because every process in your body needs it. And how you know how much water to drink is you drink 50% of your body weight. And the best way to drink water really is probably through a straw so that you're able to, like, I need 70 ounces of water a day for myself, and so how I do that is I usually have it. I don't have my water jar here, but I have a water straw that I drink that water from. And the other thing is to really move. And get outside, take breaks, like have, like look at like where your weakest leaks, like, when you're tired the most during the daytime, and then schedule in going out and walking for 10 minutes. Because that can change your whole mindset. That can change how you perceive things and how you're handling your immediate environment. No, don't eat sugar. If sugar's in the first 5 ingredients of a substance that you're looking at eating, you probably shouldn't eat it. And sugar's disguised with anything that says sugar or says that has a word that ends in OL. So and like sorbitol, which is a kind of fake sugar, so to speak. But, really watching your sugar intake and then looking at, and then how to combine foods. And going back to where your weakest link is in that component, on my website at healthteamnetwork.com, there is it's not Wake Up Productive, it is there's, if you look under the books or the library, on the very bottom of that page, there's a great freebie to be able to identify what aspect of your life, it's called the Wheel of Life Guide. What aspects of your life, are you the weakest in? And it's a downloadable PDF that people can have for free. And it helps them identify that. I use that a lot with clients when I first meet them, just to know where I need to help them focus, or because a lot of times we push back what we don't want to talk about, right? It's just like, who wants to talk about that? No, 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 let's just keep on moving on. But sometimes we have to address those issues that we keep on going back to and have never really addressed.
So, and doctor, it seems like basically sugar is in everything. What you touch on sugar, but what are some recommended alternatives for listeners?
Well, there's not really any exactly, but you could have, an occasional fruit, and having fruit that is high in fiber, like blueberries, which are high antioxidants, and blackberries, and any of the berries that, are there, pomegranate, those types of things that are rich colors, that you're eating. Pineapple's really high in sugar, so are oranges. Lemon and limes are okay, actually, because they're not as acid or sweet as, and they're really good mixed with water, so it makes water taste even better.
What
And
about honey?
and then honey, I've always learned. I had a teacher of mine and mentor in chiropractic who was huge as a source for allergies and for foods, and he always said to use honey medicinally. So I've never used honey to sweeten anything ever. But I have used it, to make a mask for my face. And I have used it if I've had a really bad cold, and I'm trying to get over the coughing part, especially in the middle of the night. I'll make sure that I have raw organic honey next to my bed. If you can see through honey, it's not good for you. You should throw it in the trash.
Oh, so you're saying it's not good. Honey's
It-
not good for you.
well, it is medicinally, but it's not, generally speaking,
Like
to use
every
it
day to sweeten stuff or
right. Right.
interesting.
A lot of times people lose their flavor for food because they have it's so altered. And so when you give something up, um, like putting sugar or eating cereals, when you go back to having them, you're thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I even ate this before.
mm.
And so if you find yourself craving a certain food, you probably should not eat that food. And stay away from it do it for at least a month, and then go back and taste it. And then, because a lot of times when people, it's like smoking, right? People quit smoke and they're good to go, and then they have a trauma, which is why people usually eat comfort food, right? And so or smoke, and so when they smoke, all of a sudden they're smoking again. It's because you don't ever really give that up. It's like you give up bread, and you go to a restaurant and they put a bread basket in front of you, instead of telling them, hey, I don't need this, thanks a lot anyway. You start, and then your dinner's taking longer, so you eat a whole like tray of bread, and with butter on it. By the time your dinner comes, you're not hungry anymore. So,
Fills you up.
it's just like, looking and eating real foods,
Mm,
and like looking at, if you want to give up bread, rice, and pasta, then just make sure you have enough vegetables, raw and cooked, with your lean piece of meat in every meal. It's
mm.
simple. It's not that hard.
Great pointers. Great pointers.
Yeah.
So to move things on a bit, I want you to give us an example of a great client outcome, or what a great client outcome would be for you, based on what you do.
Well, I always love it when the haha moment and the light bulb kind of goes on, the dimmer switch goes on. And I had a woman who I was working with, and we realized that she had an emotional connection in her past that was preventing her from having a really good relationship with her husband and being able to communicate with him. And so at the very end, when we had this like aha moment, and because I said to her, she wanted to communicate with him, and she wrote him a long letter, and I said, he's never going to read it. And I said, what's the first three sentences? He's never going to read it. And I said, he's going to read the first three sentences. He's going to read the last sentence, and that's it. And that's how he's going to respond to it. And I said, if you want him to engage with you, and I said, and this is like, it was an interesting lesson because she did this her whole life. It's not just with her husband, because how you do anything is how you do everything. It's that moment that she had that like, oh my God, I don't have to do this anymore. And the next time I talked to her, she rewrote her letter because she was putting her feelings down. Women do that all the time. And so the first part of it opened up with saying something that she actually liked about him. I said, you got to tell him something that he likes. He's not going to like listen to you if he doesn't get that you like him. And if you're angry at him. And I said, so say something nice to him, and then tell him what you want to talk to him about in one sentence, not 3 pages. I go, and then bring it up at the very end. It's like, when's a good time for you? And that she called me up before my next visit with her. She said, I haven't felt like myself and that empowered in 17 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. No,
You know,
that's awesome. It's just like, for instance, when I undertake some campaigns for our clients and they're seeing results and they're
mhm.
they're happy. It gives
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
special feeling. So I completely understand what you're saying.
yeah, it's just like when somebody telling you food, what you eat for food definitely can improve your success and your productivity and your stamina, and your drive in life, just by changing the foods that you eat and then having kind of fun conversations around like, how do I really do this? And then the light bulb going on, going, oh my God, I signed up 10 clients this week, and I'm going like, yes, isn't that beautiful?
It
It's just
is.
like,
It is.
and it's really great. And I love to see people thrive.
Of course.
I
Of course.
I get asked all the time, like, why do you do what you do and why do you still do it? Because technically people like, why don't you retire? I like to make massive differences in people's lives, and I'm not dead yet. So I want to see people thrive. I want to see people get solutions to their challenges that get them unstuck so they can move forward. Like I just said a couple minutes ago, and that's something that's safer, quicker, and, with like simple solutions that aren't mind-boggling because it isn't that hard, some of it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So Doctor, what are your thoughts on digital marketing?
You
If you
know,
understood it
I,
better.
I, you know, I think, everybody, like digital marketing to me is kind of like a blurry area. Like I get it and I see it and I know good copy when I see it and I can write copy or I can correct copy. So it's even better when I see it and I can posture. I'm very visual. That's what I always got paid for is like that in the chiropractic side of structure function and right side, left side. So that part of it, but having the right message get to the right person that needs to hear your message, has to be pristine and
Mhm.
crystal clear. So that person who they're reading that going like, oh my God, I want to call her up. Or it's just like, I want that same result, and even that 17 years story, there's so many women who get married, have kids, they don't know who the heck they are,
Mm.
and they have this revelation, when they they finally take a girl trip for a weekend and they're going, I don't want to go home. Just, because it's just like you want to have your soul on fire, and a lot of people put everybody else first before they take care of themselves. And that self-love portion is really huge, even in corporate, for that, work burnout type thing.
Interesting, interesting. So, how do you promote your business? I know we met on you do a lot of LinkedIn activities, but how do you promote yourself or promote your business online?
I talk this year, I went I could do it before, but I went to a speaker camp that was supposed to be a retreat. It was anything but a retreat. It was intense. And, and recrafted how, in presenting from stage, either keynote or, speaking from stage to sell, an idea and a concept, and that was really eye-opening because I used to do it like when I first had my practice, I would go out and I was on TV. I was in front of any group that would listen to me. Um, and so that's one of the ways that I think that is, very valuable because you can hit a mass amount of people in a short period of time, in one moment, and if you just need, like my goal is to share information so that people can improve their lives. So that's my first objective for the public speaking. I do outreach on LinkedIn on people's profiles that interest me, especially podcasters, because podcasting, although I'm not a podcaster, I like guesting on podcasts because you're reaching a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten clients from podcasts that I've done because they're going, you were talking, actually the first person who I ever got from a podcast, he said, "Oh my God, you were talking right to me."
Mm.
And I'm going, great. And so, and that's when I had no clue what I was doing. And so I just looked back and listened to that podcast again and again to see if there were what keywords I was using that might have been like, triggers for him and ask him like, what really interested you? What did you walk away with from that? And why was that so motivating for you to pick up a phone and say, I got to talk to you? And and then being able to, get somebody from point A to point C. And so I do that. I do a lot of networking. I just went to visit my local Rotary here, but where I'm at right now in Winter Park. And, to with that group of people, because I think that, when community is so important. I mean, you can teach about health and what it is. A lot of people don't want to address their health issues, but they either do it and when they do it in crisis and they expect you to create miracles. And so it's a lot easier to make sure the fire doesn't get out of control than it is to put out a forest fire.
Mm.
And, as that analogy. So being able to talk in community with like-minded individuals and people who support you, I love my community. When people enroll in my community, they get me, number one, 24/7, 365. It's just like they have an avenue to me that I can answer them in a short period of time. And they get around other like-minded people that want the same thing. They want the best out of life. They want to be productive. They want to be healthy and they want to be happy and they want to enjoy their families in a condition that gives them the ability to do that.
Mm. And doctor,
Right.
you're doing the right things as a healthcare provider to outreach. You're doing networking events. You're doing podcasts, right? You're doing speaking engagements because patients or clients, they want to see you. They want to know their provider. And so I think what you're doing, it's for any healthcare provider listening, this is a great way to put your name and your brand out there so that you can attract more traffic to your practice. So kudos, for your strategies.
Yeah. And also results matter. If when, my international best-selling book, Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired, is a book of questions. But the questions are system surveys. So when you go to a foreign country, you just don't pop in there and say, I'm going to go, and I want to travel in Dubai across the desert. You hire someone to do it who's been there before. You don't want to get lost in the desert and you don't want to get lost in your life and you don't want to get lost on your venture for your health because you have to have your health in your mind for everything.
Right, right.
And that's
Doctor,
what that book provides. Okay.
yeah, and I know, we're gonna add, put your website up that, if someone is
Mhm.
watching or listening, they can actually go there and see more about find your books and obviously I know they can find it maybe on Amazon or where can they get your books?
Amazon. That's where I always steer people to go to Amazon. If they go on my website, they can get it there also. There's a link to will take them to Amazon. And so that's like two good places. And there's also, my library, I have other books that I recommend.
Mm,
I don't, there's no links to those books, but I recommend them, so that, that they something piques their interest on there. And if anyone's reading something really, that's interesting for mindset, motivation, um, and the such, I always like, email me, send me it. There's a mic on my first page on my healthteamnetwork.com. There's a mic on that first page if you drop down to it, and you can leave me any message that you want, any length that you want to leave me, and if you've got a book that's really rocking, your world, I would love to know what it is. My most recent read is The Code of the Extraordinary Mind.
mm.
And it's by Vishan. I can never pronounce his last name. Who owns like Mind Valley, and he, it's just like I like the book because it really helps center you, and being able to get more out of your day and having you back in touch, with your aspects of forgiveness and for compassion, and for your dreams, for now and 3 years down the road and what that looks like. It includes like a really great little like 20-minute meditation that, I always think if you need to calm down and just get focused, it's a great meditation to do, and it's very, very short period of time. But that's was my last read that I did. And I threw that up on my website because I thought it's something that you can listen to while you're walking. You don't have to
Awesome.
write notes.
Awesome, definitely. I know our listeners and viewers, they will definitely check that out. And I
Hmm.
can't believe we're right at the end. I mean, time
Oh
time
no.
flies, right? But before
It
you run,
does.
I want to ask you this. I want to tell us one thing in your practice that you're not investing in and you will prioritize this year.
Public speaking.
Okay, nice.
Public
You want to
speaking.
do more of that. Okay, and why?
I do, I want to do more of that because you have a bigger message, that you can touch more people,
Mhm.
and if you can change the life of somebody, that their trajectory when they're going, in the wrong direction, and, like open their minds so that they look at the realm of possibilities, because I'm an out-of-box thinker. So I can solve a lot of problems, not even just in a healthcare industry, but and lead the way. So what are your possibilities, and like really organize that right side, left side,
Mhm.
and then say like what's your best venue? What's the best thing that you can do right now that if you jump in the middle of the fire, you can still get to the edge and not kill yourself.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
and that's exciting because then you can taste it. When you go to a smorgasbord, you eat something, and if you don't like it, you put it down, and you go and you eat something else. You just want to make sure that you don't eat poison when you're on that smorgasbord. You want to eat something that's really nutritious, that gives you all the energy, that you need to make it through even your longest day, and whether that's mind, that physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, financial, but you've got to bring your mind along for the ride, and so that you can make those decisions and keep moving forward.
Mm, mm. All right, doctor. So tell our audience how can we reach you? Give us the website address and all your social media handles.
I will very quickly. My website is healthteamnetwork.com. It's a plethora of information. LinkedIn, you can find me under Dr. Pat Boulogne, which you'll have in the links anyway. Facebook is Ask Dr. Pat. And then Instagram is the same as LinkedIn. It's Instagram.com, Dr. Pat Boulogne. And I have Twitter. I don't pay too much attention to Twitter, but because that's it seems too political for me. I just want people to get well and be able to move forward and make decisions, so they have a checklist and going this, and then you can make decisions that are based upon educated information and science-based information that's in front of you.
Awesome, awesome. Dr. Pat, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a blast. We learned a lot, and hopefully we could do it again.
I would love to do it again. Thank you very much, Andre. You're a saint.